For the first time in a year, students are back on campus at Palisades Charter High School. Students were attending classes at the old Sears building in Santa Monica while their campus at the Palisades was being repaired. 36 classrooms were destroyed in the Palisades fire. Those have now been replaced with temporary bungalows.
I actually don't have words. It's amazing. I mean, at the Sears building, our PE field was a little parking lot, and we walked in laps around the parking lot, and our classrooms didn't have doors, and now I'm going to have a classroom with doors.
School expects the campus to be fully remodeled by 2028.
President Trump has signed an executive order the White House claims will help speed up rebuilding after last year's wildfires. The order aims to allow people using federal emergency funds to rebuild to bypass the need for local permits. Our Karma Dickerson following this story. She joins us live with the order and reaction here. Karma.
As well, the president's executive order really called out LA's rebuilding efforts, and it called on the federal government to step in. That did get a lot of attention when it comes to local leaders, state leaders, even national leaders. And now they're weighing in on what that could potentially mean for wildfire survivors. As the Palisades hit a rebuilding milestone this morning, other fire recovery news was breaking.
Today started as a beautiful day. Palisades is coming back, and the reopening of the high school is a real emblem of that. And then it was ruined by an executive order that does nothing to help people and is filled with lies.
Democratic Congressman Brad Sherman was attending the reopening of the Palisades High School campus when he learned of President Trump's executive order aimed at the Eaton and Palisades fire recovery efforts.
It's designed to attack California and not provide any assistance.
The order, called Addressing State and Local Failures to Rebuild Los Angeles After Wildfire Disasters, criticizes California on many fronts, from the firefighting effort to water management to disaster cleanup. But most notably, it calls for the federal government to intervene in the permitting process. Specifically, the order calls for FEMA to create a path for builders to go around state and local permitting requirements and self-certify that they have complied with the necessary rebuilding standards. There's inevitably going to be somebody who hears this and says, that sounds like a great idea. What would you say to them?
Right up until somebody builds a 22-story apartment building on a residential lot in the Palisades with no parking and says, well, we self-certified.
Sherman also questions the legality of the order.
If there is an attempt to specifically implement parts of it, I think it's very likely that there will be litigation.
Loyola law professor Jessica Levinson weighed in.
And that litigation generally will basically ask, did the president have the power? And even if he did have the power, is that power limited by what states and counties and cities can control for themselves?
A spokesperson for Governor Newsom said in part, while Trump is picking out gaudy gold decor and new flooring for his unnecessary remodel, this community is still waiting for him to grant disaster recovery funding. He should keep LA out of his mouth unless he's planning to grant them the federal disaster funding they need. And Mayor Karen Bass said in part, the president has no authority over the local permitting process. But where he could actually be helpful is providing the critical FEMA funding we've been asking for by speeding up FEMA reimbursements and regulating the industries that he alone can impact. And the president's executive order is very heavy on the criticism of California and the LA rebuilding efforts, but it doesn't go into a lot of details about how exactly this executive order would actually work if it was carried out. So a lot of people are waiting to honestly see what's next and how this unfolds. Reporting live in Sherman Oaks, Karma Dickerson, NBC.